some
Something.
icing on the
Something.
But then I heard Kingsman's coming, and I was
what was
like,
the last movie people liked me for? And he's like, hey guys, remember Whiplash?
No, that wasn't me.
No,
Wasn't that you? Oh, that was Mason. That was Mason.
Oh,
He
Okay.
liked it the most.
That's
though.
right, yeah. Price
I
liked
did.
it the most. Alright,
Love that
clap sync
movie.
on 3. 1, 2, 3. God damn it,
Do
you
it
guys
again.
suck at that.
Do it again. Do it again.
3, 2, 1.
I heard
Oh, see, I started with 3.
I know, you messed me up.
Ah, yeah. Alright. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Clear everybody. Alabaster albino.
I'm not giving you anything.
Okay. Welcome to a fueled, testosterone-driven episode of the F Movie Podcast.
Raging.
Right? What? Save it. We're getting there. I know. I wish we. You know what? To be fair, Nathan's has as much patience as Robert De Niro did with any of the women in this movie.
Oh my god.
Good God. Welcome to the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Dylan, Mason, Nathan, and Price. Don't ask why he's always last. It's just...
And why he's always hugging a Pikachu.
Get the
now.
Pikachu
He's
out
my
of here! We're gonna
favorite.
get sued!
He's-
Nintendo, no!
Price is gonna need a safe space for
Yeah.
what's about to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Price is gonna need to call some of the local abuse after this episode, I think. Price, what are we reviewing today?
We're talking about Raging Bull. And we haven't done this in a while, but the reason I picked this movie is because it was on the category, and it said movies that based on a true story. And everything else I thought looked awful or we've already seen. So I was like, oh, Martin Scorsese. I historically like his movies, and he's done a true story. So I'm going to go with this one on a blind pick and see what happens, and see what happens you shall.
So, what's that movie about, Price, while you're at it?
I want you to tell us
While you're
what
excusing,
happened.
while
What's
you're
the
trying to
synopsis
excuse it.
of this,
Give us
little
everything.
Let's cut it down. So basically, Robert De Niro plays a boxer named Jack De La Costa, I believe
No.
is his name.
Dummy?
I think it's isn't
Mata.
It just look,
Yeah, Mata.
Or Moda.
It's not Moda from Madagascar 2.
I've
No.
never even seen that movie.
Just look it up, but I'm pretty
Anyway.
sure it's Jack De La
So,
Costa.
Jack.
But anyway, so Jack is a boxer, and his manager is also his brother, played by, you guessed it, Joe Pesci. I believe this is really where their workmanship
Funny, I
started.
said LaMotta.
LaMotta too. Oh, is it actually LaMotta?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Jack LaMotta. Moda.
Yeah, just like the hotel franchise.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so it's just a boxing movie about him coming up in the world. It's very much more focused on his personal life and how much of a gross piece of garbage this man is. About how he's originally married, but you just kind of forget about it because it's the 40s and you can just step
And
out.
she just
on whoever you
disappears.
want.
Right.
Literally.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Doesn't appear
there's
anymore.
nothing to resolve
What?
this.
Let me get the summary. There's a lot to
We'll get there, we'll get there.
Okay. Okay.
So he meets this blonde-haired girl who's like 14.
16.
I thought she was like 14 or
Nah.
15.
She was older than that. I had no
I
idea.
No, she was 16. They say very early on.
Oh, well, he sees her at the pool and is like, oh, she's dating the guy I hate, so I'm going to try to get her. He just shows her the car. She's like, that's pretty cool. And then they make out and bang, and she kisses her belly a lot. He's really into that. And they wind up getting married. He keeps on boxing throughout this whole time. It's kind of, boxing is really not too central to this movie. And
I've got a trivia fact for it whenever you're ready.
okay, and it's basically just about him coming up and trying to get the title, but it's way more about his personal life than that, and how he basically just throws everything away. And also, you see how terrible this guy was, and he is a consulting person on this movie. Like, he gets like one of the starring credits as like consultant Jack De La Motta or whatever. Like, he was okay with it.
Yeah.
He's like, I played it down, if anything.
But if anything, at the end of the movie, you see like, oh, this guy needed like any kind of money like he could get. So I guess he was okay with it. But now, have at it.
Firing squad, load up. I want to start with what I think is a very interesting fact about this movie that popped up on Amazon Prime. Thanks, Amazon. Now sponsored by Amazon. Of this movie, around 120 minutes or so, 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours, right. Of this movie, about him being a boxer, 8 minutes of this movie total is spent entirely to actually boxing.
And you can't tell the difference between the scenes, even though there's like
Nope.
probably 5 or 7 different scenes.
Right.
They always
Well,
look like he's hitting the same dude.
Well, he is actually
Yeah, a lot of
hitting
the times
same
it's the
dude
same-
in many of these fights.
But they're not supposed to be, because
No.
they keep coming up with different names on the screen, like LaMotta versus blah blah blah
He
blah
fights
blah.
that sugar guy.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
fights
he
Sugar Ray
he
like
fights Sugar Ray
2 or
at
3
least
times.
twice.
Yeah. And then he fights the one white guy, demolishes him, and then
But
gets
they all look
beat
the
up by
exact
Sugar.
same.
Yes.
Like every fighting scene
The pretty boy.
is the exact same.
God.
Also, how fucking bad these boxing
Awful.
scenes are.
Awful.
There's one part where he's literally getting punched in the face,
First
neutral.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
Was
It doesn't-
the worst intro I think I've ever seen.
It doesn't feel real at all because it's either like they're like, "Hey, De Niro, you're winning this fight." It's like, "All right, I'm gonna beat the crap out of this guy." And then it's like, "Oh, you're gonna throw this one." He's like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm not gonna do literally
You
anything."
take every punch.
Yeah.
Literally.
There's no give and take in the
Yeah.
arena at all.
No.
But with only 8 minutes shown to do that, I mean, like, I guess what it took me as is like, this is definitely not a boxing movie.
No.
This is a, hey, this is this guy's life.
Movie
Yeah, he
that
definitely
happens
boxed.
to be a bad boxer.
Yeah,
Right?
which is like, I don't know. I feel like even with that being said, like you could put a little bit more time into the boxing scenes to at least give your audience something.
He should have put more time into something.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is 2 hours long, and the entire time that you're watching it, you're just wondering, like, where the hell
Where's
is this
it-
going
yeah.
that it's going to take this long?
Is he gonna be a
Like,
hero at the end?
Right.
Every half hour, you stop and go, like, okay, is there a movie here? Is there somewhere that this is
Yeah.
going to continue from? Like, I feel like this could end at any moment,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I wouldn't care.
Another trivia fact. Robert De Niro spends more time beating his wives than beating anybody
Oh my
in the
God.
ring throughout the entirety of this movie. I wish I was making that up.
That's so stupid.
Wouldn't be surprised. I know you made that up, but I would not be surprised.
You know what? Fact check me.
Like,
you go rewatch it,
run
count
the
minutes,
numbers.
run the numbers.
yeah.
I think
Wait,
it's
are we talking verbal abuse as well?
all the.
I mean, yeah, if you
you know
include
what?
verbal
Verbal
abuse,
Yeah, I
abuse
agree.
definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
I think just physical abuse actually gets on the
I
clock
don't know,
though.
maybe
Yeah.
Well, if we include Joe Pesci getting beat up by that one part.
his family.
Okay, do we want to leap to the
No.
entree just yet, or do we want to hold
No,
off
not
on
yet.
that?
Let's
okay,
save it.
let's. Or we got more. We got more.
Okay. So my main qualm with
yeah,
this
yeah.
movie is okay. Good job for Scorsese. This is definitely a passion project. Can we agree? This guy
is.
probably grew up liking him,
Scorsese probably grew up idolizing this
or
boxer.
he had just idolized him.
Well,
for some
that
reason.
sounds
Well, what happened?
insane that somebody could do
Right.
The movie that
Well-
Scorsese made before this apparently flopped really big, and he took that really hard because this was like 1980.
It wasn't
so-
Taxi Driver, was that?
No.
No.
Okay.
This was like
It was
one-
this Taxi
so
Driver
he made
something
the
else,
movie
right?
before this. It flopped really hard, and he got super depressed. And apparently, he like OD'd on coke or something.
Hell
And De
yeah.
Niro,
Scorsese.
De Niro went to him in the hospital and said like, "Hey, like make this movie that you've always wanted to." Like just at least put it out there, and they put it out there, and then it did really well, and that's
Right.
what propelled Scorsese to like keep making movies.
Okay. No. Yeah, I don't care. Anyways,
No, I'm just saying
No.
like the
No, I
passion
get
project
it.
thing. Like
Right.
you're
Yeah,
right.
it's like the
Yeah.
passion project aspect.
I get
is.
that.
It's, this
It doesn't make it better.
this
Yeah.
means something to Scorsese, even if it means jack shit to us. Because
to a
of the
lot of
movie.
other people,
Mhm.
Right,
especially us.
right.
And this might be what I've never seen the critic reviews on this. I'm
Critics
I'm
came out
curious.
wildly loving it at the time.
Well, at the time, maybe sure.
I don't
but,
know about
does it
roundabout.
hold up now? Anyways,
Hmm.
my main thing with this movie is the fact that like if you're ever gonna make a true story of a sports icon or a sports idol, you want to at least spin it in some kind of a good direction and or have a good reason to do so. This guy was not appealing. Like this guy, I don't understand why this movie was made about this guy because he was basically an asshole from the start to finish,
Yep.
which is fine. A lot of athletes are. I wish I could think of more examples of movies like that.
But
by the end of
Uncut
this
Gems
movie,
would be my comparable. Like
not a
he
true
start.
story.
I know he's not, but
Yeah.
my thinking is like he starts as somebody who sucks and progressively does not ever get better.
true, and he stays on the bad end.
Right.
But I like that. I like stories more about an anti-hero because Dustin told me I need to watch a show called Reacher. Hated it. The guy's so perfect. He's stacked. He's 6'5". He's handsome. He's perfect. He
Oh,
solves
yeah.
Quit
everything.
talking about me.
I'm so
Talk
tired
about
of seeing
Amazon.
that. I've seen that so many times, but anti-heroes are being done more and more now. But I feel like there's usually more nuance to them because like the director's wanting you to like feel sympathetic to this person, but also make them hateable at the same time. So you get a lot more of a dichotomy with them and much more character,
like an
development
origin
with that.
story.
You just watch Punisher
When you
season
just
one
have
for
something,
that, though.
when you just have like a boring milquetoast, same like good person you've seen a million times, like say in radio, the coach in radio. You have seen that guy
Whoa.
a million times. That good guy, like, will help anybody. You've seen that so many times. This, at least you get something different. He is a terrible, terrible person, and I don't see anything redeemable about him. So you don't get too much depth with him, but he's...
But the movie's about him, so if you're not getting much depth about him, like, that's the issue. Like,
I just think it's
Right.
neat seeing something different at that point. Right? You're not getting something deep, but you're getting something different rather than something you've seen a million times before.
I'm
The kind of the interesting thing
deep
about
in
him
soupy
as
water.
the interesting thing about him as a character in a story is he has no character development in this story.
Uh-huh.
He is the same person
He starts to
the
finish.
entire time. He's just an awful person that never learns any lessons about anything and just continues to behave like a grown child the entire time. Like, my thing about picking this guy to be someone to make a movie about is just, like, he doesn't deserve it, and his life is...
Agreed.
He
His
didn't
life is not
accomplish anything.
interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
Well, he
like
did
the
get
only
several
the only
domestic
thing,
violence abuse
like, you
charges.
could say, like, the interesting things about his life was the boxing,
And
not
we-
his personal life.
You got 8 minutes of it.
Like-
we got 8 minutes of it, and it was bad. And that was of this movie, objectively
Like,
the
that's
worst.
the only
part.
reason
Yeah,
anybody should know
that's
about
true.
this guy.
Yeah.
He otherwise is just an irredeemable asshole.
This is right. You could minus the boxing part. You could change him out for any other Northeasterner guy in the 40s, and
Yeah.
That's what I felt like so much of this movie was
Yeah.
just like a little encapsulation of, like, there really are people like this.
Right.
And it's miserable to be around them, to see them, to be a part of their life. Like, they are awful people, and they do nothing but corrupt all those around them and make things terrible for everyone. And those are real people, and it's crazy to think that anybody could live that way and not just die.
right.
Well, there was one good line in it that I really liked. I really liked
Did
whenever...
you? No.
when he started, like, kind of going crazy, and his wife said that that boxer's really handsome, people say, and blah 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 blah. And then she walked off, and he was like, well, people say that he's really handsome, but Joe Pesci's just like, just make him ugly then, and then just, like, kind of went off like that. Like, that is a pretty good
That's
line.
a pretty good line, yeah.
But, like, the crazy amount of jealousy that this guy has,
The paranoia that he
Yeah.
had.
it's
Yeah.
just nuts. Like,
Yeah.
It was
really, it's so cringy and, like, such a weak-minded thing for someone to, to be so strong and on top of their game otherwise, but just be so weak in every other way that they're like so unsure of themselves that they're constantly paranoid about any off remark or any like showing of kindness of anyone to his wife.
Well, he
Like, even older guys, it's like clearly they're just being nice to her, but he just immediately scrutinizes her as though it's somehow her fault for somebody saying something nice to her.
Well, everybody hates him, though. That was the biggest, the
Yeah.
thing about him getting the title is, like, everybody hates him. Like,
Yeah.
they said that over and over and over, that, like, his character is the reason that he can't have a chance at the title, because you got to have a lot of help to get there.
Right.
And no one wants to help him because he's garbage.
I will say this about the movie that is at least fine. I don't know if it's a compliment. I guess it's a compliment. Is that he felt genuine. Despite this being a movie about him and it being a very bad movie about him, he and all of his paranoia, jealousy, weakness, abuse, and stuff like that feels very genuine. Like, this feels like a guy who's just a typical Northeastern abuse, like domestic wife beater, right?
Mhm.
And it never paints him to be more than anything else, which isn't to say that, like, I kind of would have wanted that out of my movie if I'm being a little
Especially
honest.
if it's 2 hours long.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
if I wanted this, I would have. Let me go back to the home footage, you know? Like, I would have gotten something like that if I was going to spend 2 hours watching this stuff. But so it's genuine in that regard. And that's where my compliment stops. There's no reason to watch this movie other than the fact that Scorsese, De Niro, and Pesci are in this. And if I'm going to make a hot take so far, I haven't liked a Scorsese movie once with these two. These three together, I think, make the worst fucking Scorsese movies, and they're the ones that he was most popular
Let
for.
me check
Good
that.
Go look.
Goodfellas was
Goodfellas.
good for Joe Pesci. Like,
Dude,
he was
Pesci
that
was-
crazy guy.
Pesci was like fine and entertaining, but the movie itself, I remember still walking away being like,
Well, we were all like that because we had seen so many
So
other gangster
movies
mobster
at that
movies.
time.
Yeah, already.
Right. Like, so
Yeah.
we've been
Poor
gangster.
timing on the
Yeah.
part.
It's poor timing
Yeah.
on Goodfellas. That's the closest it gets to me being like, okay, fine. But even still, I'm like, I go from like fine to like bad. Like, that's the spectrum with it. And most of it falls into bad. No, I looked at Scorsese movies afterwards to double check.
No, I was looking.
my
Goodfellas, I think, is definitely the best with those
Yeah, it's the
three.
best one they got, and even then, I remember thinking in a movie, it just felt like it was like repeating some beats a little too often for it. But this isn't a Goodfellas review. What is this review? Speaking of other reviews, I'm gonna tee us up, boys. I'm gonna tee us up. There's a scene in this movie that hits me.
It's a dinner table scene.
It's
this
everything
I
about
forgot.
the sinners.
We just talked about it. I don't know how I forgot.
Everything about this scene is effing movie fucking material.
Yes, this is what we live for.
There's a dinner scene fight because the brother fucked the wife. And that's everything we love in movies.
Yeah.
So
De Niro thinks Pesci had sex
Yeah.
with his wife.
Yeah.
Well,
she
she told
because he
that.
said, "Yeah, I fucked your brother. Yeah,
Well,
suck,
no,
go
that was
fuck
after.
That was after.
Was it before? No,
That was
because
after.
That
It
was
was
definitely
That was
after.
definitely after.
Because
It was
he
before.
started
It was
questioning
after.
her about, or questioning him about it, and then whenever he's like, I'm not even going to dignify that question with an answer. Like, you're fucking
Okay.
crazy.
I thought
Yeah.
the very next scene though was him going and beating up Pesci though.
No.
It was
the
after
next
they had
scene
that
was
dog.
him then
Okay.
interrogating
Okay.
her
Yeah.
and her saying...
And then she was like, fine, you want me to say it? Like, just leave me alone for
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Right, and at that point, I'm still not even convinced if she actually banged them. I think that she.
No, she didn't.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
it
right.
was...
But there's a moment where you're sitting there, and I'm like, if I'm her, I just fucking say it at this point because he just wants to hear it. Like,
yeah, and I
right.
think that's what she does. I
Right.
think that's what this was. Yeah.
So anyway, can we just put like a link somewhere for Brothers review and just put like here? It's down here.
Yeah,
I'll post it. In the
this
comments.
was the moment where one brother should have said to the other brother, "No, I did not fuck your wife."
Yeah.
We're brothers.
Because we're brothers.
We're brothers.
I wouldn't do that to you.
We're brothers.
But as is tradition for brothers in film, when questioned about whether they fucked their wife, you always just dodge
dance
the
around
question.
it.
I mean, why would I don't know.
No, I'm not going to answer that. That's a ridiculous question. Why
Tell
would I
me.
even just tell you, like, why would I be straightforward about something that you're asking so straightforwardly?
Right?
No.
Why would I respond? I wouldn't even respond to that with dignity. Says and then he just beats the pants off everybody in that family. Like,
Well, and then right after that, then the wife basically tells him, and he basically just Well, no, he doesn't hit her until he runs over to Joe Pesci's
Yeah,
house.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he hits her on the way. Like, there's like that
He
walk.
knows
Like,
she's on the
she's
street.
trying to like pull him
Yeah.
off of Joe Pesci,
Right.
And that's when he's like, "Leave me alone," and then punches her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was devastation in Joe Pesci's house that day.
That
with
was-
punches like that, I see why he didn't become champion. Though. She was still standing, and he was.
Well, he had
very
such
upset.
little hands.
He's got these little hands. You
I
see,
feel him.
pound for
I
pound,
feel him.
pound for pound. He just can't hit with these little hands of his,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
You know
God.
what, though? Truth be told, that was the best part of the whole movie. Like,
Unequivocally.
all in
Oh,
all,
yeah.
all in
Like,
all, that
best
was
part.
the
Yeah.
best
Through the
Comedic
whole
gold.
course of this movie, I was just like, man, why? Like, this is, I don't, this is going to be the shortest review. Like, there's so little to talk about.
There's not.
And then it got to that scene, and I immediately was texting. I was like, okay, there's at least
There's
something
worthy.
to talk
We got
about.
some material,
Like-
boys.
There's a scene.
Meat's back on the menu.
Yeah. You got a situation.
Fully stocked.
Yep. Yeah. So, but the thing is, we only enjoy that scene because we are the Effing Podcast, and we've seen one
It's a good point.
movie with that more or less same scene and several dinner table fights. If we aren't us,
That's where the sass
everybody
happens.
else just is like, ugh, this movie still.
Still sucks, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we've covered the full
Yep.
course. So, God, fuck you, Bryce.
I didn't know what we were getting into, so.
Anyway, so what's the next segment? I don't even know anymore.
Question.
The question. What's
Okay, I've got one.
Sure.
Try to forget like this stink that this movie's leaving with you,
I won't.
and just think about: do you like just say enjoy or dislike Scorsese as a director? Now, before you answer, I'm gonna read off some
Yeah,
of his
give me
other
movies.
Yeah, read the movies.
Okay,
read the
Wolf of
movies.
Wall Street, Shutter Island, Goodfellas. I want to name the bad ones too: Irishman, Departed. For some reason, it has Shark Tale listed because he's in Shark Tale.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Gangs of New York, Aviator, Raging Bull, and those are the last like big ones.
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. Yeah, I'm just looking at the other ones
Yeah.
that people
Right,
seen.
right. Most of the other ones. Are
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
forgettable.
But like as a whole, what do you all think?
All right.
And he did The Departed as well. I don't know if I
I'm
said
gonna
this.
say he's a great director. Like, he's fine. It's just,
Best voice actor, Shark Tale, baby.
I guess he is. I never knew that. I don't think, though, that you can sit there and just be like, I'm just gonna give him a pass on this one.
Yeah.
He just had a
He's
bad day.
He's a good director otherwise.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
like, you have to own up to everything you
You
do.
gotta-
I don't think that this one is anywhere in the ballpark of what he normally would do. Like, he must have been out of his mind. Sure, he must have OD'd. Sure. It must have been a passion project of some type, because this movie was atrocious.
Don't let coked out people make movies.
This one has a lot of qualifiers
Issues.
to why it ended up the way it is, but, you know, taken just as a movie, it's not good.
No.
He does do other perfectly good movies,
Yeah.
though. Like, it's... I don't know. Like, I don't ever really view a director as like, oh, this is a director that I like. Like, no, I'm only going to like whatever films I like, and I'm not going to let the weight of a director
swing you.
actually swing anything.
Yeah.
As you should, because, like
Yeah.
Wes Anderson has a couple duds.
I like Wes Anderson. French Dispatch I was very lukewarm about, though. I like Taika Waititi. What We Do in the Shadows was like hit or miss with me, though. Like, again, some of these favorite some of my favorate directors have movies I'm still hit or miss on. Scorsese, not one of my favorite directors. This movie's bad. I'll admit that he has some good movies. Honestly, here's what I'll say. If it has his renowned movies, for the most part, seem to be attached to primarily De Niro, Pesci, and then occasionally we get Leo. His Leo movies tend to be pretty good.
Agreed.
They tend to be like good to fine. Lengthy, yes. They just keep going on.
It says a lot
I think
about
maybe
him.
a more of maybe a way of refining the question is like, is film as a medium better for him having directed within it? Like,
Does he bring something?
what was his?
Plenty of people would say yes, but I don't know. The movies I've seen, I've not. All I can see that they are mixed, but nothing that I feel like I've seen has put me out of my way to sit there and say Scorsese. I know this is going to be the most like movie bro opinion, but nothing I've seen from Scorsese feels as though it has impressed me enough to see why Scorsese is Scorsese. You know, because Scorsese is like a well-renowned director in Hollywood, but I don't see it. Even his best movies that I've seen, I'm like, they're okay, they're good. You know, the ones that I like, but then you got ones like this that people loved, and I'm like, I'm not looking at it in the way that whatever the critics or other people are seeing and seeing it.
I gotta say, looking at the Wikipedia for this, whenever I was just trying to like get a little bit of extra context, I did not understand why it received so much praise.
Acclaim. Like, there was a recent article that still rated it as like, I think, the #1 sports movie of all time, and I'm like, how the fuck did this one? I don't know. I'll say it's IGN because they're always bad reviews.
There's like
no fucking
you can't
way.
call this a sports
movie. It's 8 minutes.
This is a domestic
abuse
abuse
movie. Right.
This is a true story. That's as much as all. And you know, like, this is just
I don't even feel good about that.
true story.
All right, now it's my turn to answer the question. And yes, I do like Scorsese as a whole. I like the fact that normally he has an anti-hero as his protagonist. I think that's pretty different. I think that's one of his hallmarks to do that. And another hallmark is also to really go more into true crime. Well, not really true crime, but a crime movie.
Gangster crime.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy what he's done. The Departed is in my top 10 favorite movies. I like his dialogue for the most part. His movies are too long usually, but I like what he's done as a whole. That's why I picked this movie, is because I like his name and thought maybe he'd bring something interesting to a genre I really don't care about, and this did not change my mind at all. So he didn't work on this one, but usually for the most part he hits for me.
Can I ask a question real quick? It's going to be a quick one.
Okay.
Was this movie better or worse than Brothers? I just want to hear it out loud. Shut the fuck up.
Say
Shut
Say
the
it.
fuck up.
Oh,
No, shut up. No, it's
You're not.
It's not. It's not even.
I'm honestly going to say better. For me. Because it's something different. Brothers, like, I don't
Brothers
care
is different.
about.
Brothers is
Yeah,
different. The
of many
second half
things
of
you
the
could
movie is different.
The whole central thing, like, this conflict that arises is, did you sleep with my wife? Yes or no? And he says, like, this is my brother.
Yeah.
That's not this movie. Like, that
Eventually
fallout
happens. Yeah.
that fallout does happen in this movie, but it's not the central thing to this movie. It's just like the central thing to this movie is Robert De Niro falling further and further deep into himself and like just being a worse person, and him accusing his brother of sleeping with his wife is just another domino in the falling of his life. Rather than Brothers, where the whole central premise is could be solved by, no, I did not sleep with your wife. No.
Still actively true and
So,
raging bull.
Yeah, I do think it's better. And I'm in the minority. I already know they're going to say it's worse than Brothers.
Hollywood, why do you have such a hard problem just admitting you slept with your sister?
Yeah.
It's just infidelity.
Yeah.
No big deal.
All right, Dylan, do the next one.
Fat, thin, perfectly fit. This is that segment where you know the shape of the body of the movie.
Is anybody not saying fat?
This movie is
It's
so obese.
Okay.
so fat.
Yeah, it's very fat.
What's the cheapest cut steak you can get?
Blubber.
Cube steak?
Cube steak.
Yeah.
Cube steak.
Yeah.
This is Cube Steak's fatter brother, Fat Cube Steak, which would be my rapper name. But
Cube tip.
something about that doesn't scream circumcision. But anyway,
Proper cube tip.
yeah, okay. Egregiously fat. This almost isn't a movie. I almost want to give it to that
Like
the Birdemic review almost.
that's
Yeah,
the thing.
man.
Like I kept feeling like I was just like, where's the movie
Where's
here? Like,
where's
this,
my movie?
This is just following this guy, and it just keeps going
Yeah.
and going and going. And I'm like wondering, like, is there, like I said, every 30 minutes, I kept thinking, like, is this going somewhere? Like, what's the story here? I don't understand what's going on, man.
We're
Well,
artificially
and the-
creating a story.
And the thing
'cause-
was too,
right.
like at the very beginning, this is another qualm.
Mhm.
At the very beginning, he sets his sight on the heavyweight champ. He sees him in the club. He says, "I want to fight that guy." And Joe Pesci says, "Buddy, you're not nearly his weight. You'll never fight him." Blah blah blah. So what does he do? He starts gaining weight. There is a momentum to this
Yeah,
movie.
she
There
starts getting a
is
little
this
raspberry.
this goal to where he's going to fight the heavyweight champ. He never did.
No.
He never fought him. He didn't. Nothing happened besides him fighting that Sugar Ray Jackson or
He
Sugar
did
Ray
he lose
Robinson
like every
guy.
time too, right? Like I'm not.
No, he beat him
Oh,
once.
he did beat him
Beat him
once. Yeah,
once,
finally beat him once.
and then
but-
he beat him again. Well, the other guy beat him.
Yeah, the other guy beat him.
Isn't Sugar Ray the one who beat him senseless at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what?
You didn't take me down.
Yeah, that was him.
I just have a hard time figuring out. The 8 minutes of that is so bad and disorienting.
Oh, another thing. All the blood spewing.
Hershey's
Oh,
chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That was a trivia fact. Like, when they actually filmed it, it was Hershey's melted chocolate.
Ew.
Mm.
Why?
Ew.
That's thick.
I don't know.
Fucking Scorsese, you suck.
Trivia man.
Use corn syrup. It's
You
black
know,
and white. It doesn't
that-
even have to be colored.
Yeah.
Did you all catch that moment too? Like at the end, whenever the guy just gets a ton of blood thrown on his face.
Yeah.
too?
For no reason.
No.
Chocolate.
But now knowing that it's chocolate, it's just like, oh well.
Well,
he
that's
was
why
just
we
a
did it
lucky
in black and
man.
white.
He came out ahead.
We couldn't afford the real blood at the time. I'd blown that on coke at the DC. It says Scorsese. But comic book movies, those guys, they need to stop.
You know what though? Here's my thing. Whenever they chose to do all that bloody like content, I bet Scorsese was like, "Fuck, this movie's in black and white." God,
Nobody's
I
gonna
didn't
even
think
know.
about this.
Yeah.
Now it needs to be visceral. It needs to be thick. It needs to be all over everyone's face.
What if there's a whole boxing
Yeah,
movie
you
and he
know,
just cuts it because he's so
Yeah.
mad? Like,
Just imagining a world where you punch somebody and they just squirt blood.
Have you watched anime very much? They do it a lot.
yeah.
Well, that or like brown, like Hershey's. Think about that. Like it's
Like,
brown.
Poo poo butter coming
Yeah,
in.
like-
Can we get to scores and just be
Yeah.
done with this movie?
Yeah.
Mason score. Poo poo butter out of 10.
Scores.
I think he's got the spiciest one. Just let me go first. I don't care that I picked it.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what I was
Alright.
what I was alluding to at the very beginning was when it comes to sports movies. Do you guys know who Jackie Robinson is?
Yeah, the baseball
No.
player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know him before the movie
No.
42 came out?
No.
No.
Yeah, of course I did. I'm a history major.
All right. Well, that's fair.
I didn't. I don't keep up with
There are
sports.
a lot of movies like this where like names stick with you, especially if you hadn't heard of them beforehand.
Right.
I will never remember Jack LaMotta's name after this movie because it didn't do a good job at all of portraying a decent, heroic, any of these things at all. So
Moda.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody.
Mota from Madagascar.
I like
Nobody
him
knew who
thick.
Muhammad Ali was until that Ali movie
You're
came
right.
out.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Thank
Nobody
God Will
at all.
Smith.
Thank you, Will Smith.
Will Smith kept his right hand strong too. That's an Oscar joke. That's funny. That's how funny I am.
Keep this boxer's name out of your mouth.
Anyway.
So with that being said, this movie failed in many departments, and it is, honest to God, my least favorite movie we've watched on this podcast.
Woo!
Let's go!
That's an achievement.
Now,
Man, even Bird.
Birdemic
no,
doesn't even have a movie. Doesn't
I
mean it's
give
a
this
low
movie
score.
a
Doesn't mean-
4.5 because of that, because Birdemic was not a movie.
I
That's
can
true.
Yeah.
I can trigger bird image that.
That
Griff,
sucked.
my dog is screaming somewhere. I can hear Griff in the wind.
So yeah, 4.5 from me. I don't. This is the worst movie I think I've ever seen. At least in this group.
Ooh wee.
Wow.
I tried. No one said it, but I was trying all week long to get this movie vetoed and
It's true.
redone.
Yeah.
To
Behind the
save
scenes, he said,
everyone from watching.
I will
it.
give you all, and by then I'd already watched it, and I said, no, half of us have already
Everyone
watched
needs
it.
to watch
waited
it now.
until today
Yeah.
to watch it.
I already
'Cause
said
I was still
my-
holding out hope that maybe it wouldn't happen.
Nope, I had already got my socks wet, and I said, fuck it, we're all gonna have a bad day now.
We're all having wet socks
Yeah,
today.
all of us are gonna go step in this puddle. What did I gave Lawnmower Man director's cut, 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
I gave it a 4.5. That's a long goddamn movie.
That is a funny movie. Monkeys.
fucking
I like that
Fucking
movie more than this
3R
one.
World.
And I do like that movie more than this
Pierce
movie.
Brosnan shirtless.
Smoking in bed. There is at least a movie there. A bad, awful bad
It's
movie.
a bad, but it's.
But there's a
funny bad.
movie. No, not always. Not the director's cut. It's not. No, it's not. You son of a bitch. but this movie is just domestic violence with bad.
And black and white. They
and-
try to be older than it is.
I know. Nothing about this movie I can defend other than the fact that the brother just sleeps with the sister. And that's only because we've watched Brothers and we've made such a fun thing out of it. But out of effing movie content lore, I cannot defend this movie by any stretch of the
No.
bounds. This movie's bad. If it is even a minute longer, I kill myself, I think. I just do it. I just do it. This is a 4.
Hell yeah.
This is the first time I've gone into the 4s in a minute. Lawnmower Man's been keeping in the water. It is a umbrella in a shitstorm of movies that we watch, and this one found a hole. It dripped right into my mouth. I think this movie tastes like that chocolatey shit that they use for blood. Fuck this movie. Ugh.
This movie has a lot of problems. It overstays its welcome by an hour and a half. 30 minutes into this movie, you're wondering, is this a movie? Why is this even... Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this going to
He
go
better
somewhere?
become president of the United States by
Right.
the end of this, or this movie sucks.
Does he find $20 in his pocket at the end of this movie and the credits roll? Like, huh.
Like, just no development. And I love how they open it with him as an old man, and they
Yeah.
close it with him as an old
Yeah.
man. But the movie's so damn long that you forget that it opened that way,
Yeah.
unless you're like reading a synopsis about it, in which you're like, oh yeah, it did start with him like that. What the fuck?
By the way, Robert De Niro set a record. He gained 60 pounds.
Dude,
to
his
do
gut was
that
hanging out of
part.
his shirt at the end of that
Yeah.
movie.
His
Yeah.
record was beat by Vincent D'Onofrio
D'Onofrio.
and Platoon. Apparently, he played something like
Vincent D'Onofrio.
he gained apparently 70 pounds for it.
That's Kingpin, baby!
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing that was ever so frustrating about watching this movie was the audio mixing was all over the place, and we didn't really talk about that. But I constantly
Turn
like
it
it
up
would
and
it would be
down.
up here, and then it'd be down here where they were whispering, then it'd be back up here again, and I was just having to mess with the volume. I had to have subtitles on so that I could hear what the fuck they were saying.
And even while they're at volume, it still feels like they're just mumbling most of it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Mhm.
It's
Oh yeah,
okay.
that might have just been the Boston or whatever accent.
Hey, don't cook that! Don't keep cooking that until it's done! Flip
Yeah.
stick, yeah.
Don't
I
let it get
want my
dry.
steak,
Yeah.
so I can get mad and fucking flip the table.
Right. Can we just
Ugh.
supercut all of the dinner table
Nathan,
scenes?
Nathan, score!
Score.
Bad film, awful premise, didn't deserve to exist. This guy's terrible.
He aborts this movie, is what he just said.
It's really, I feel even worse that I paid money to watch this because I had to rent it, right?
Of course they
Which
did.
makes
Lower.
me think that some amount of that money went to this awful, horrible man.
Cast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He got royalties for this.
Like
Yeah.
10 cents
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
Mona
Yeah.
Mona.
Oh, he's dead by now. Surely to God.
I don't know.
Yeah,
No, he's
you
still
know,
fucking kids.
I hope all that money goes to his
He did.
his
His
divorced
wife.
wife.
Which
because
one?
He deserves none of it. I don't care. Give it to either one.
Yeah.
Of them. They both suffered hard.
Score,
with
Nathan.
this man.
I like where this is
I
going.
like it. I like it.
I'm gonna give it 1.5.
Hell yes.
Alright, well, I'm not bucking the trend, don't worry. I didn't enjoy this movie either. Most interesting aspect is that it's an anti-hero, but he has no development, like everybody said, throughout the movie. Fight scenes weren't that interesting. I got tired of seeing the same thing in his personal life over and over and over again. It's way too long. The audio mixing's terrible. There's no, like, great shots. There's even a part where, I don't know if you all really remember it, but, like, you can see Scorsese trying to, like, do some, like, stylistic kind of shot. I can't remember what it was. Like Goes on De Niro, it slows down, and like there's like a slow-mo kind of shot with De Niro. It was horrible, but
it was creative.
It was like 1980 or something,
Yeah.
but still, it was still painful to watch. I didn't enjoy it as a whole, so I'm going with 2.5 on it. Like I said, blind pick, saw Scorsese. I didn't want to pick this category anyway. I was forced to, so unfortunately, we all had to watch
Price
it.
came to school with his homework bit because he needs excuses.
I looked at other movies and I couldn't find one that seemed the slightest bit interesting.
I'm not trying to
this is
like
what we
ruffle
got.
feathers or like stir the pot.
Oh, but he's going to.
But
There we go.
No. So with this score, you'll tell me that The Fountain was. This movie was better than The Fountain, Brick.
Yes.
What's another one?
In my opinion, yes. I hated those movies.
Excalibur.
Oh, yes.
Oh no!
You didn't watch
I watched
this
Excalibur
one.
twice before I rewatched this movie. I don't care at the time.
Repo?
Repo?
Repo does have a little bit of style.
It has a little.
It has at
fun.
least
All right, well, you've
stuff.
already
But I hate the
answered it. Yeah, I
songs in
gotcha.
Repo, though.
mean,
So,
that's
like,
true.
I gotcha.
that's not going to help it, even though it's got style.
At least they
I
have
hate
real
the
blood.
songs.
That was just my
They couldn't
little
afford fake blood.
curiosity because I see where you're coming from. I just want to make sure.
Let's
that,
be over
like-
with this and spin that wheel.
Wait, what about the critics?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be exactly what you all expect. Critics were at 94. Audience are at 93.
93?
How?
No one's watched this movie in the past 25
here we
years.
Yeah, I
go.
know, right?
Clear the room. Critics' consensus. Arguably, Scorsese and De Niro's finest film. Raging Bull is often painful to watch,
They
but
haven't
it's a
had a good movie,
searing,
so that's
powerful
objective.
work about an
Often.
unsympathetic hero.
Often hard to watch is what they
To
say.
watch.
You don't say.
90. Critics are fucking idiots.
Spin the wheel because they're dumb.
Oh yeah. Well, so
We spun off camera.
we spun off camera.
But we might be able to edit it.
Can we just clip it in?
Yeah, I can.
That video that you sent of you spinning it.
Yeah.
So normally,
I don't know anymore.
we would spin the wheel, but we've already spun it, as we just said. Well, maybe we'll clip it in. I don't know. And usually
We'll see.
we watch the trailer before the movie, but we've already
seen the movie.
we've already seen the movie too. We're gonna do the movie back. This is gonna be back-to-back reviews. So if you see us wearing the same outfits,
Don't judge us.
we just did it before we got blown away. So that's our review of Raging Bull. Make sure
What
to
we
tune in next
watching
week.
though?
I'm getting there. I was about to.
You did say.
I was just about to. It's just, I'm a professional. 2-time award winner. My story is more interesting than fucking this
You guys' audio mixing is as good as Raging Bull.
I know, right?
We're watching We're watching Kingsman.
The first one.
The first one.
King's
Not
Man.
King's Man.
Wait, or is it King's?
It's
Kingsman.
not the
Kingsman?
Kingsman. It's Kingsman.
It's the Kingsman.
The
Is
Secret
the
Service.
third.
I don't know. It's the first.
It's Kingsman: The Secret Service, the first one of the Kingsman trilogy.
Well,
One
that's good because that's what I watched.
Yeah. Would have been too late on the other
It's
side.
always
of
a
it, so-
gamble on
Yeah,
that.
that's true. That's true.
This movie review is over. Go away. Go away.
If you like our content, make sure to let us know in the
Okay.
comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up. Make sure to hit the bell because he's annoying sometimes. Can you
Bye.
Bye. Scorsese sucks. He's overrated. I said it. Clip it.
That review only took us 24 minutes and 52 seconds.
No, it didn't.